my experience with sort of U.S. involvement in the region starts in 2003, in early 2003. Very inadvertently, when I kind of, as a very young woman, I, volunteered to be a translator with U.S. troops going into Iraq. And, I was 21, and I don't think I really understood full well what I was signing up for. But the reason I did was because, I just felt like I had an obligation as someone who was bicultural and bilingual to do my part to enhance and sort of allow for proper communication between the two sides. Because I always, this too, Ronnie, like, when you grow up sort of in between different cultures, you really, really start placing a lot of importance on communication. That communication is everything. The wrong words, the wrong look, can lead to misunderstandings. And if you can't communicate that properly, bad things can happen. So that's why I went. But the reason I bring that up is because, I got to see really firsthand and very closely what U.S. involvement in the Middle East looked like and what the dynamic was between sort of Americans and Iraqis at the time. Of course, later on, I started working at the Pentagon, and I was there for 8 years. And so I participated in U.S. foreign policy towards the region from a very much higher level, a policy perspective, whereas in Iraq, I was on the ground. And it was sort of amazing and kind of sad to see I don't want to say evolution, because I think it was just a devolving trajectory. And when it came to that relationship, and there are a couple of reasons for that, I think, right? Like, one reason is, and I think this had a large part to do with it, which is you simply had, 3 U.S. presidents consecutively who had utterly different visions for the region. Utterly. I mean, you had George W. Bush, who was all about, I think his administration genuinely did believe at a certain level that they wanted to empower the people of the region and sow democracy and all this, but they didn't really, I don't think, understand the full implications of that, and I think you'll remember, was it 2005 when Hamas won elections, sort of free and fair? Was it 2005, I think?
Either 5 or maybe 2006. It's around then. Yeah.
Right, but the U.S. didn't acknowledge the results of those elections. So there was just sort of that kind of fumbling around with what we thought we wanted for the region and what that would have looked like in real life, and how unprepared we were to accept what that would have looked like in real life.
Right.
Then you had President Obama come in, who really just wanted to reset. He just wanted to do away with all of the Bush era policies and start from scratch. And he initially came in with a very, I think, human view of the region. I think partly because he grew up in Indonesia. He was familiar with Muslim culture. Obviously not that the whole Middle East is Muslim, but he was a little bit more understanding of that, and I think more humanizing in the way that he saw the region. Unfortunately, I think that he kind of had to deal with, the Arab Spring and Libya and Syria and getting re-involved in Iraq when he really didn't want to, and ISIS, and he was just kind of, and I think, and I sort of speak from firsthand knowledge here, or at least from being in government and kind of seeing this, that there was a moment, and I can't pinpoint that moment, but there was a time when I think President Obama kind of, said, look, you can't change this region. You can't do anything. These people are kind of good. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. And it was, I struggled with it because I could see why he would think that, but I also found it deeply frustrating and disappointing that we started to lose our humanity and our sort of humanization of the people of the Middle East.